Hello friends, fans, and foes, I am Fancy Fatale. Welcome to, or welcome back to, my channel. My art friend Volt recently made a video about the reasons to begin your comic now. You know, if you have that story deep inside you that's been trying to burst through, and you keep waiting and waiting and waiting and practicing, and you think it's not ready, and you don't want to show the world, and you don't want to lose your copyrights to it or something weird like that. Well, I thought, hey, I have my own perspective on that as well. And what is YouTube for other than sharing your own perspectives when no one asked? To fill you in, if you are new here, I am a fantasy comic creator, and I've been creating comics such as Feyward, Oath, Tempest, Elf and Orc, and more for over 7 years now. I wanted to give any curious artist a motivational boost in their decision to take the leap and make a comic. To start off, reason number one. It is good practice, a constant source of studies in landscapes, figures, poses, expressions, hands, placement and pacing, and speech bubbles. You think that you would need to be professional in order to start the comic process, but little do you know that it's very good practice to just start doing it yourself. Even if these are projects that you may not show the world, just making pages, maybe pages that you're going to revise later, that's fine. You should just start practicing now. Even if you just do mini comics, as I've discussed in previous videos, doing panels that make you study backgrounds and landscapes, making sure that the dynamic between the backgrounds and the figures are good so that the figures can stand out if they're the important part of that piece or the focus, or if the backgrounds themselves are the exact thing that you want that panel to be exploring. You want to make sure that you're good at the details or lack thereof on blurred backgrounds behind things, and just getting into it and studying other comics and duplicating it in either one's very similar or practice comics that are stories that you want to share but maybe you won't entirely share them the way they are. Just do it. Just do it, and it's even proven that the more you draw something, the better you get at it. So if you start doing practices for the characters that are going to be in your comics, even if it's just on random sheets of paper or random concept studies for that figure, you're going to get better and better and better at drawing their expressions, their face, their angles, their dynamic, how they express themselves when they're happy, unhappy, angry, frustrated. What are their main expressions or emotions they use? What is their resting face? What is their happy face? And is it very common? You're going to want to figure out how to draw figures within a panel so that they don't all overwhelm each other. And I had this issue where I wanted to show every part of a person in every panel. It made no sense for dynamic theatrical presentations. So when you just start doing it, you realize that there are better angles to show things. And if you have a conversation going on longer in a set of pages, shifting it and showing different parts of that scene while they're talking or having a speech helps with the reader staying attuned to what's happening there. Reason number two. Start now, or you'll just be behind for your future self. The longer you wait, the longer it'll take to finish it or get to the place that you may want to get to in the story. So this one, it may sound controversial, it may sound pushy, but literally if you start now, you will be further along a year from now. If you wait a month to do practices, yes, you'll be maybe a little bit better, but you could just do those practices within panels. It's all a matter of how much you want to be refined by the time you start the comic. And there's always time to go back and revise pages if you really need to. I may revise some of the original issues of Feyward at least a little bit on some character design models. For Lita, she got a bit more refined to be halfling size but not too weird in the face, as well as a few other people got better shaped and better. I have a better understanding of them because I've drawn them more since then. But the main thing is the story. If you have a story that you are trying to get out there and you want to wait to make it, let me just express how difficult it is to make a comic in the fact of how long it takes. On average, it'll be 2 months for me to complete one issue. Of course, I make a slightly longer issue than most American comics, but it's around it's like a chapter of a graphic novel. I do 30 pages within 2 months. That is between 8 hours and 15 hours per page. And that means that 3 issues from now, it'll be like 6 months. So that is a half year on something that I plan to do for the next part of my project. And even though I started as soon as I knew I loved this story, like 5-6 years ago when I began Feyward, after I had begun Oath a little bit, I'm still behind. I am drawing stuff that was 4 or 5 years ago, and we are so far ahead in the plot right now that there's things that when I do draw them and post them on my Instagram or my Patreon or any of the websites, no one knows what they are. I don't have a lot of interest right now, so I guess no one really asks what they are, but no one knows what I'm posting about because this stuff is so far into the future. That's why I also have a Patreon tier about spoilers, so I can elaborate on why a figure might look so different currently than they do in the original comic when you read them in issues 1 through 8 right now for Feyward, or 1 through I think is 6 or 7 for Oath, or the first one for Tempest. The fact you see Kiko with multiple people and all the things I draw with her, that's at least 8 issues into Tempest, and that's gonna take a while to produce. But that is to say, just start now. Do your best, start now, and you'll get better. My last reason, and kind of the most important one, number 3, who else will tell the story if you don't? If this is a story that is very personal to you, if this is a story that really spoke to you or had an effect on you, you are the one who should make it. If you have the capability, or if you just have the tenacity to sit down and learn to create comics, you can do it and you will do it. It'll be difficult and it'll take time, but if it speaks to you as much as you think it does, and if it keeps you up all night as you think about it, you want to sketch the characters even if you think you're doing it poorly, you want to present their strife, their happiness, you want people to read along with their issues and the story that you witnessed, do it. You're the bard. You're the person that people will look towards for this story, and eventually they may appreciate that you did make it. So if you don't do it, then who will? That's why I recommend just do it.